Hello, you guys. It is Ebony. It is I am back to do another reading on Miss Chloe Bailey. Someone asked for an updated video on her, and I was like, you know what? We might as well. Um, some of my predictions for her project went well, but not everything. I know that she's gearing up to do another project with Hallie. And then they asked me about Burna Boy, and I'm kind of messy, and I want to know. So yeah. So first, we're gonna start off with Chloe's opinion on how her album performed, or just some of the processes that went into it. To be very honest, I feel like she feels like you guys paid it kind of dust. I feel like she feels like the quality that went into her, the effort that went into it was really real. Like she was in her creative bag. I just feel like she feels like she did everything right. Like she kind of switched up her. She might feel like she switched up her sound a little bit. She worked with the right producer. Like she kind of took it out of her own hands. Like she feels like she did certain things to appease the public, especially things that they have been asking her to do. Like I said, kind of take production out of her own hands, work with someone who kind of really knows what they're doing, have a little bit of an image shift, and she feels like people still kind of paid it dust, especially if she felt like behind closed doors she advocated a lot to be allowed to do this, especially to test the waters for the third album. And then they ended up being really really disappointed because that project, like, I don't think it charted. It didn't, no shade, it didn't really go anywhere. My just like objective opinion on it, I think that Chloe is super talented. I still just think that I feel like Timbaland is a little bit washed. I feel like I just don't think that he was the right person to kind of innovate her. I also feel like Chloe, I'm not a super big fan of her lyricism, and so I personally didn't really love a lot of the songs on here. I didn't think that they were objectively bad. I just thought that none of these were really things that would captivate the mainstream. Like Tyler, like for example, Tyler makes music. She makes good music, right? I think that Tyler's narrative is a little bit confused. I don't think that Chloe has ever had the narrative or really has had the sound. I think that Tyler can have a strong hold should she know how to market herself well. I think Chloe just kind of needs an entire kind of image or brand shift, but that's just me personally. So when she's speaking about this Chloe and Halle project, I think that she might have been put in a position where maybe the label themselves was just like, okay, well, we're gonna do this. It feels like to me like they're kind of putting her in a position where we're gonna do what we know has worked in the past, right? We're gonna do what we know has worked, and we're gonna see, is this just a thing of can Chloe not perform, or is this like a Chloe and Halle thing? Um, and I think after that point, if they are successful, especially if they do what they need to do with that, I think that they will be very much so willing to kind of back her behind another project. But there's a part of me that really doubts that she will get another solo album before the Chloe and Halle project. But we'll look at that more closely. Very interesting, though. I will say, you know what? I'm going to say this. I think that the chance of Chloe getting to drop another project before Chloe and Halle is high. I don't know if there might be a major shift in narrative, or if there's like I don't know if there's some success. It kind of seems like there's some random success here, or just a lot of attention on Chloe yet again, like with the busing challenge. I don't know if she just has a lot of media attention, and so they feel like, okay, well, maybe the intention wasn't really to make her go before Chloe and Halle again, but because she does have a lot going for her, or something went really successful, it's probably the best time to try another solo album. Like she might have some personal success that might kind of make the label rethink what they're thinking right now, especially with the performance of this previous project. I also want to say this. I don't want to say that this next Chloe and Halle album will be their last, but I just wonder if they might feel like it kind of feels like destiny fulfilled to me. So there's a part of me that feels like, I mean, they're sisters. Like I don't think they're ever gonna totally not work with each other. There's just a part of me that wonders, like, do we, like, I don't know if maybe at that point their careers have really taken off to the point where they really don't have time to do all that group stuff anymore. Because that's really the point of Destiny's Fulfilled. Like, Beyonce, okay, so like they had Survivor. Beyonce came up with her solo, which was wildly successful. So they decided to close the chapter on Destiny's Child definitively because Beyonce's solo career was just doing what it did. Kelly, Kelly at that point also was having some success. Michelle not so much, but they had all done solo work that was, at the time seemed like it was going pretty well for them. So I think in their, the label's mind, they were like, it was a good closing off, and that's why I'm just like, it kind of seems like it might even be that at this point they don't necessarily think too much about it, or there's not much writing on it. But like based on the context of their careers, it could be a thing where it's kind of the final, and it might even be a thing where even in their position they don't really want it to be the last. But like I said, just life gets so busy that they kind of have to move on. But ultimately, I do think that Chloe's disappointed in how this project performed. I think that she thought that she put everything that she had into it, or it's some of her best work. And I do honestly think in terms of quality is definitely her best work. I just still think that she's kind of missing the mark. Chloe doesn't really, no shade when I say this, Chloe doesn't really have taste. Like she doesn't really, like, at least Tyler kind of has that rude girl attitude thing about her. I think her sound can be a little bit off-putting, but people definitely like Tyler's persona. And she was a bitch who was from like North. and she's a bitch who's from like New York, like organically, they would have loved her. You know what I'm trying to say? It's really because she's not from here, because people do, they're gravitated towards her. It's just like the music and the persona sometimes don't hit a little bit, but it's really not because she's a bad musician, right? And like I said, her narrative gets a little bit confuddled. I don't think that Chloe has a strong idea of any of those things, honestly. She might have some sleeper hits, or like I said, it might even be that she takes some notes from the underperformance of this one, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go into the next one. I know for sure that one is going to be a hit, but I do think that she's gonna have to kind of lead this era alone. Honestly, you don't really see her peddling it too much either. Like, I know that she just did a maybe like a music video for something on like the strip or whatever, but like, yeah, I just think that she's gonna, like, maybe she's gonna try one more thing with this project, and then it's kind of just gonna die out, because there's just, unfortunately, there's just not a lot going on. I really do feel like with this next Chloe and Halle album, there's just something about this where it almost feels like they're making it under duress. Like I said, it might be that Chloe, like us, Chloe, this is what I think will happen. This is just a rough idea of what I think will happen probably within the next like 2 years or so. Chloe might have a moment in the public eye where she ends up going viral or having a lot of attention on her. So I think at that point, especially because at this point they might assume that Chloe doesn't have a lot of fanfare, even if people know who she is on the regular, she doesn't really have it the way that she did in like 2021, 2022. She might randomly get a surge of popularity or success. And so at that point, they're like, okay, this Chloe and Halle project is going to be on the back burner. So it might be at some point in time they went from it being the forefront to, oh, actually don't know when we're going to put this out. Chloe goes ahead with whatever her third album, right? And then at that point, they're like, okay, well, we might need to just do the Chloe and Halle project because we promised it. Also, to let it be kind of a closing out as we really fully move into our solo careers, and we're not really looking back on this group project that we have going on. Not because we don't want to make music with each other, but we both, Hallie's off being a superstar, Chloe's off being a superstar. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there's just a part of me that feels like I don't know if they feel like it's not their best work, or they just had to just put out something so people know, okay, this is us putting a real pin in this for now, right? Because we didn't really know with Ungodly Hour it was going to go the way that it did, but it happened. I don't think they're necessarily gonna love the way that they're gonna put a pin in this, especially because, like I said, it does feel like it's low key under duress. Like, we have to put something out just to say that we did it. It kind of feels like, to make a statement, we have to do something, but it might not necessarily be like we got to take 2-3 years to kind of make collective decisions and all that. It might be a thing of within a year span. Honestly, probably closer to 6 months. We just had to throw some shit together and make it work, which you definitely can. You definitely can, but it really depends on how talented you are, really. Because in my her, I had said, I don't know if I said specifically her next project or her next album. Her next album could become a classic, or it could be like, I was actually talking about, when I did my reading yesterday, I was referencing how like Zara Larson's album versus Sabrina. I was saying like Zara's on, but like she hasn't really had like a run yet. Sabrina kind of put herself on in that one era, and like it's short and sweet because she had so many hits off the album. It was at least 4. So Chloe could have that same kind of trajectory where she's creating multiple hits off of one project. It kind of feels like she's listening to advice and things are panning out for her, and it could be because, like I said, she's had some ideas queued up, but she was ignoring them because she didn't really like the way that people were talking to her or trying to force her to do certain things. Also, being given a sign or being given some form of direction can be like, for example, let's say she has like 100 songs written, but she doesn't really know where she wants to go with them. She could get some advice that kind of like sets her on the right direction. So if she needed, like, let's say her next album was going to be based on fucking sunflowers. Let's say today she drives by a field of sunflowers and she's like, yeah, that's the one. There's something about her finally making a decision or finally having a breakthrough in terms of like having a concrete concept. Yeah, so if the label's looking at her like we need a return or we need a hit, or she's even thinking that about herself, this next project is going to be the one that does that. And there's something about the wealth or prosperity that comes from this where you can almost see it reflected in everyone around her. So I don't know if after this Halle could have a subsequent like success or really highly performing like film or like a project of her own, or this is maybe her like this could even be a thing of where maybe because the label has made so much money off of her, they're able to invest in other people a certain kind of way. I just feel like you see not only her getting richer, and you can tell that she's richer, because like Chloe has an apartment now, I think, but you all of a sudden she's in a house, and then the sister's in a house, and it just kind of seems like everybody's living this very opulent lifestyle. This almost reminds me of the Real Housewives. That was obviously before I knew that this project that she just released in June or so would exist. I think the next album has a propensity to do a lot better than she assumes. I don't think that she's necessarily looking for a lot, but like I said, you just never know what could happen within the next year or so, especially if she organically has a lot of hold on. Especially if she organically has a lot of attention on her, I think that she might feel like that might even be it, where she feels like, oh my god, same thing again, where she might feel like, oh my god, because this is the same thing as the busted situation, where all of a sudden, because I'm popular, because I'm viral, they want me to put something out, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to like get them going, and then but this time it works. I don't think that she might have a little bit of PTSD. I think that she's afraid of self-sabotage, or she might self-sabotage because it's just gone. She's tried so many times. Like, this is definitely her third solo project. She tried so many times and it hasn't really gone super well. This is not her third album, right? But it's definitely her third project as a full-length project as a solo artist. So like, this next one really has to smash. Like, it matters, but I also think like I don't know. I think that she's just worried that people are gonna let her down after hyping her head up because they've done it so many times. They hype her up to let her down constantly. I do think, and I've been said, I feel like once Chloe really fully gets into her dark pop bag, she will eat. I've been said that she needs to make an entire album of body do's. You see, oh my gosh, someone came in my comments the other day being funny, and they were like, Chloe needs to take from Tyler, and I said yes, she needs to steal from her. That whole A-pop thing. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not saying that she should steal the A-pop, specifically the A-pop content, but like for her, I think Chloe, of all people, especially if she doesn't have a strong personal narrative, like a strong statement to make, I think if Chloe leaned into specifically dance music and innovating dance music in terms of like black pop stars, there's a space that's wide open. Like, and people said it like this: A-pop was a big promise. It's a big name. I know to Tyler it was just like a catchy thing to do, but it was definitely a very big statement to take as a black girl in pop music and popular music. And she kind of fell on her face. It really didn't do what it was supposed to. So I feel like if you were to ask me, I'm just gonna be honest. Chloe does like she has a big open lane to take. You know, Tyler was being funny with that. This is so A-pop coded. So yeah, we gonna see what the fuck is A-pop coded. I'm just saying. I've been said. I don't think that Chloe should steal. I'm just saying that if she did steal, I would not blame her. When Tyler borrowed Chanel, y'all see how that went. So I just don't. You got to charge it to the game. Like, I think she could definitely take that into consideration. Chloe is also, she's very similar to Tyler in that she's very through and through an R&B girl, but at least with Tyler, it really like, it's a vibe. It definitely feels different. It's eccentric for her. I feel like with Chloe, R&B can fall a little bit flat when she does it. Like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, Chloe, and I've been said, I gave her a list of recommendations, and I've been said, it's a damn shame that you work with Timbaland and you didn't walk out of the studio with a promiscuous. I need you to do dark dance pop only front to back. I need it to be like a blackout album, front to back only. I promise you, Chloe, all this other funky bullshit that you want to try. I'm trying not to be fucked up, but it's because like let me be the one to tell you. No one will tell you. Dark dance pop. If Britney Spears wanted to put it out, do not put out that shit. I don't want, like I said, it's funky gospel Atlanta bullshit. I don't want to hear that. Dance music only. You see what Madonna just did? You need to study that. You need to study Britney. I don't need none of this. I'm thinking I'm trying to think of what song I'm thinking about. I just don't like it. I just do not think it's a good song. I don't think it's a good song. The production on it is good. The vocal on it is good. It's never the quality of her music. It's the actual sound itself. A lot of it is just uninteresting. That's the only way that Chloe's gonna make herself interesting, especially if she doesn't have much to say. I'm just gonna be honest. She's not a super strong lyricist. It also gives her the space to not have to focus so much on the depth of what she's saying. As long as you can get on a song that's going to give you space to have a really good vocal performance and a song where the beat is already a certified hit, you don't have to do much, sister. Please, like, stop making it hard for yourself trying to do all this artistic stuff. There are a lot of people who really don't resonate with that. Like, she's like she's so much to Tyler in that she doesn't really have strong statements to make. Like, please just stop. Like, for the person that asked about Running Boy, if you were to ask me, I feel like I don't know if they still follow each other. There's a part of me that feels like they still watch each other, but I don't think they're necessarily involved. If they are involved, it's very much so like a friendship. Like if they were to have dealings, I think it would be very occasionally that it will become anything intimate. I think it's a lot of just like looking and like, in passing is nice to see you, but I definitely do not think it's an extensive relationship there. The fucked up part is I do feel like in a certain way, Chloe, hypothetically, allegedly, I feel like Chloe took Burna Boy seriously. Like I don't know, I'm not saying that she necessarily thought that was going to be her husband, but I do think at certain times she could see like, for example, he was in a long-term relationship with Steph. I think she could see why other women wanted to be in long-term relationships with him, or like maybe thought one day he would be a good father or a good dad. Like I feel like she looks at him like we could have had all of those things. They never really specifically stated that they were together. They were just on Snapchat, and then they stopped popping up with each other. I'm gonna be honest. This is Burna Boy, right? I would not be surprised if he was outside cheating, just doing shit that he wasn't supposed to do. I don't think that she was very happy. She could have been very, very sad. She could have been very, very sad. With the premise under which she had to leave the relationship, right? Because I think that she was like, "You're not finna play me." I also want to say this hypothetically, allegedly. I think Burna Boy is fully like a Nigerian man. Like I think he was a little bit overbearing. It might have even been a thing where you're not treating me super nice, or you got me fucked up, but you want me to come home and do all this wifey shit for you. I think that he was asking a little bit too much of her, or just pressuring her a lot. This could be for a plethora of things, right? So take that as liberally as you would like, hypothetically, allegedly. I think that he also liked her. I think he liked taking care of her. I think she liked being taken care of, but he might also be the kind of person who feels like, okay, well, he might feel like, okay, because I'm the one who's taking care of the bills, or I'm paying for everything. If I want to cheat, if I want to get out and do whatever I want to do, then I can do that. And I do think that she was just like that's fuck no. I think she was not having it in terms of like, you can't just treat me any way you want just because, right? I don't know. I just think he just expected her complacency to some extent. I also wonder if Brandon Boy's a little bit like he likes like a stay at home mom or someone whose career kind of shrinks and diminishes. Like he might want someone who's specifically doing less than him, or he might want someone who does less than him, or Loki just wanted her to kind of give up on certain things. There's a part of me that feels like he was definitely encouraging stagnancy because he wanted to be the one on top and the breadwinner, which he definitely could have been, but I don't think it's necessarily what Chloe would have wanted for her career and her life, right? If you're dealing with a girl who doesn't really have much going for herself, she's just an Instagram baddie, she might be okay with that. But someone who actually likes to work, who wants a career, who's fighting for things, I also wonder if maybe he was just low-key unsupportive of her career, maybe guiding her to make bad decisions or not necessarily being really truthful about what she was doing. Yeah. Like I think that what he wanted in a woman versus what she actually was were two different things. And I think that she would have had to bend herself until she broke to stay with him, including like cheating and then the expectations of women, especially in the home, hypothetically, allegedly. Like I honestly wonder if she might have found out some things about Steph in their relationship that might have really disgusted her. Because, you know, for example, Steph London, like she's a Sag woman. She comes outside, she's, you know, big mouth. And when I say that, I'm not really, you know, talking down on her or whatever, but she know big presence. She likes to argue, especially about him. She will fight about that nigga, right? And I think that she might have understood why Steph maybe acts the way that she does, or it might have even felt like she was outside doing all this, but in the home, I know the kind of stuff that she was going through. Maybe that would make her act like this, or just, you know what I'm trying to say? Like it just, yeah, I can just I feel like she kind of understood why some of his past women acted like that, whether this is how he was treating them versus like how they were perceived in the public eye and stuff like that. She liked him. I think that she would have made it work. I think that there were just too many red flags too early on, right? Like I wouldn't be surprised. I used to be a huge Burna Boy fan, and these days I just look at him and his big Yoruba head like, yo, like successful guy. Hopefully he's an amazing person, but I just don't know how you deal with him long term. You know, that takes a strong woman, strong one. I think leaving him was definitely a very good idea for her. And when things, I want to say when things started to move up for her, Chloe might deal with someone who's a Taurus. The Taurus men might be very significant to her, so I would definitely want her to focus on more Venusians. Taurus is definitely standing out. This Aquarius as well is coming out, but Taurus to me seems like it's very much so for her. Also, this might sound a little bit wacky. Chloe, if I were you, I would be doing cleansings and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like we might have had. I think Chloe would be surprised to find out that maybe someone close to her has done some fucked up shit to her. This might be like work, right? But I no shade. I'm getting the manager. I don't want to accuse. I don't want to accuse nobody of nothing, right? I'm not saying that her manager is like a voodoo priestess. I'm just saying that I think she'd be surprised that some of the people closest to her are actively fucking her up and doing it on purpose, right? Like I do think that she has some people around her who are not to be trusted, and this person might be a Pisces or a Jupiterian, or just like Pisces to Sagittarius season could be significant. Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna leave this here for Miss Chloe, and I will see you guys in the next one.